Some of you may think that demon possessions only exist in horror movies like The Exorcist or The Conjuring. Well, I included in this video evidence that proves the existence of demons, as well as possession. Here are 5 such cases that I found the most terrifying. And like in my other countdowns, dark and graphic content will be described, so view and listen at your own discretion. Number 1. Clara Germana Seal. Clara was raised a Christian in 1906. Then one day, she made a pact with Satan for no apparent reason. Following her prayer, she began to show signs of possession. She would levitate up to 5 feet in the air on her own, speak several languages she never learned how to speak, and make wild animal noises. She even attempted to strangle one of the priests who were performing her exorcism. Fortunately, the exorcism was a success, and Clara was free from the dark spirits. Number 2. George Lukens. No, not Lucas, Lukens. George Lukens was an English tailor back in the late 1700s. His neighbors reached out to a church one day after claiming that George would sing songs late at night in a language he could not speak and a voice that didn't belong to him. The hospital could do nothing for him, and he was discharged due to their belief that his condition was definitely demonic in nature. He would claim to be Satan himself, bark like an enraged dog, and even sang church hymns backwards. He was revealed to be possessed by not one demon, but 7. As a result, 7 different priests performed an exorcism on him. The demons were casted out of his body after a long rite, and George thanked the priests and recited the Lord's Prayer. Number 3. Julia. In 2008, a psychiatrist came to the conclusion that a patient of his by the nickname Julia was possessed by a demon, which is actually a rare conclusion for a psychiatrist or a doctor to make. He reported that she could speak in tongues, levitate off her bed, and tell people around her things she couldn't have possibly known because they were strangers. She would also make several verbal threats to the priests that visited her, in a voice of an older male. Number 4. Anna Eckland. Anna was raised Catholic ever since she was born in 1898. However, her aunt and uncle believed in witchcraft and would often curse the young girl and taint her food. At age 14, Anna started showing signs of demon possession, such as not being able to get close to religious objects, projectile vomiting, speaking languages she's never heard in her life, and a couple nuns and priests claimed she levitated into the air in a convent and clinged to the wall. She went through a successful exorcism in 1912, and the possession became known as the Erling possession. But soon after, she was cursed yet again by her aunt and uncle after they prayed to Satan to put her through more trials of suffering. She was possessed a second time, and she was even believed to be possessed by the same demons who possessed Annalise Mitchell. She was given only blessed food during this time and endured yet another exorcism. After that, she had no more reports of demon possession. But to go through 2 possessions? I can't even imagine. Number 5. Annalise Mitchell. It is actually unknown if Annalise was possessed or mentally ill, because she did have a history of mental illness and epilepsy. But when she was 16, her erratic behavior suggested that she was more than mentally disturbed. She was not only suicidal and schizophrenic, but also wouldn't go near religious objects and even drank her own urine. The church denied the family's request to have her exorcised, because they believed that she was simply mentally unbalanced. However, a priest secretly went against the church's wishes and performed the exorcism anyways. During the course of almost 70 rites of exorcism, the family refused to feed her or treat her epilepsy. After a year, Annalise died, and her family as well as the priest were charged for negligent homicide. The reason why I included this one is because of the recordings of her exorcism, which might prove she was actually possessed. I will include the link in the description below for those who are brave enough to view it. Thank you all for watching. I apologize if I mispronounced any names or offended anyone in this countdown. My intentions were not to attack any religions or demean them in any way. Also, for those who have a fear of being possessed, I'm sure as long as you're careful with religious practices and objects, you should be safe. Thanks again, and happy hauntings.